The sky in your bones. Characters. 1. Elios. A human bird with huge but motionless wings. He lives below, in the shadow of the great cliffs, and is sure that his wings are just a heavy cloak. A mistake of nature. 2. Mira. A young, the embodiment of spontaneity and curiosity. She does not yet know what impossible is. 3. Old Boreas. A wise raven who lost many feathers in battle, but retained the knowledge of the memory of the wind. 4. Gravity Shadow. A faceless entity that whispers to Elios that the earth is his only salvation, and the sky is a trap. Part 1. Lead, Cloud Valley. Elios walked along the path, dragging his wings behind him. They were beautiful, the color of a pre-dawn sky, but covered with a layer of gray dust and hardened dirt. For him, they were a burden. Each step was difficult. The straps of his inner backpack of grievances cut into his shoulders. In the valley where he lived, no one was flying. Everyone walked with their heads down. Here it was believed that the sky was a place for storms and lightning, and only a madman would want to tear himself away from the solid, predictable earth. Elios, why do you need these things behind your back? Mira asked, jumping on the stones. They prevent you from walking fast. This is my cross, Mira. Elios replied dryly. I was born broken. My bones are too heavy for air. He remembered, or it seemed to him that he remembered, the great Grom. Many years ago, then he, still a chick, tried to open his wings, but a strong gust of wind threw him against the rocks. The pain was so acute that his mind decided, never again. Safety is the lack of height. Since then, his muscles have forgotten how to contract for a swing. Pause for reflection. Think about your ability to fly your dream, talent or lightness that you lost after falling. What became your layer of dust on your wings? Part 2. Encounter with Old Boreas. One day, the path of Elios was blocked by an old raven sat on a dry branch of a pine tree that grew right out of the edge of the abyss. You smell like the sky, boy, he croaked, but you look like a gravestone. Leave me, old man, Elios snapped. I'm going to fetch water. My wings are just a burden. Your wings are your nature. Boreas jumped to the ground, and Elios noticed how easily he moved. You didn't forget how to wave them. You've forgotten that your bones are empty inside, Boreas explained to him, the great allegory. A bird flies not because it is strong, it flies because there is a void filled with space inside it. You have filled your inner emptiness with the stones of the past, fears, and other people's words. You've become a monolith. You don't need to learn new things to take off. You need to throw away the excess. Elios looked at his wings. Under the layer of dirt, they began to itch. Part 3. Climbing to the peak of truth. Boreas forced Elios to start climbing to the top of the great cliff. Not flying, but crawling. Each meter of climbing was accompanied by the whisper of the shadow of gravity. Where are you going? The shadow hissed. You're going to fall. Do you remember that pain? Do you remember how they laughed at you when you floundered in the dust? Go back downstairs. It's warm there. There is no wind there. You're safe there. Elios was panting. Sweat poured down from him, but at each stage, Boreas forced him to stop and conduct an audit. Do you see that stone in your left wing? The raven asked. It's a memory of your father saying, you were clumsy, throw him into the abyss. Elios closed his eyes, remembered that voice, and I unclenched my inner grip. The stone flew down with a noise. The wing became a little lighter, and this growth On the right, it's your shame that you didn't save your friend in the storm. Drop it. You were a chick. You couldn't. Another fragment went into oblivion. So, step by step, through tears and rage, Elios cleaned his feathers. By the middle of the journey, they began to shimmer in the sun, but they were still hanging like a dead weight. Part 4. Leap of Faith. They were standing on the very edge. Below, shrouded in mist, lay the valley of lead clouds. At the top, there is endless blue. Now, said Boreas, you have a choice. You can go back down and live another 50 years dragging these feathers, or you can remember the truth. What truth? Elios whispered, looking into the abyss. You are not this body. You are not this pain. You are the air that wants to return to the air. The gravity shadow made one last attempt. She wrapped ice chains around Elios' legs. If you jump, that's the end. You're going to crash. Elios looked at Mira, who had come after them. She was just flitting around, not thinking about the aerodynamics. She was just in the sky. I'm not afraid of falling, Elios said to himself. I'm afraid I'll never know what it's like to be myself. He took a step. The first seconds were terrible. Gravity triumphed. The earth was rushing towards him. The gravity shadow left. But at the most critical moment, when death seemed inevitable, Elios stopped fighting. He stopped trying to do something. He just let the wind enter his empty, cleaned bones. His wings opened by themselves, not from the effort of the muscles, but from the pressure of life itself. A huge current of air caught him like a feather. Pause for living. Imagine this moment. You are falling, but suddenly you feel that the space itself is supporting you. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, imagine your shoulders straightening. Part 5. Memory of the wind. Elios was flying. He wasn't just flying, he was dancing. He realized that flying is not about flapping wings, but about trusting the flow. He saw the world from above, and everything that seemed huge and scary in the valley grievances, quarrels, failures now looked like tiny dots on the map. He returned to the cliff to Boreas and Mir. His feathers shone so brightly that it hurt to look at them. Do you remember? Boreas asked. I remember, Elios replied. I've never forgotten how to fly. I just forgot who I was. Elios did not return to live in the valley again, but he often went down there to sit next to those who were still dragging their wings through the dust. He did not teach them the technique of swinging. He simply helped them remove stones from their feathers and told the legend that the bones of birds are empty, and the god of wind himself lives in this emptiness. Epilogue. When Elios looked at his hands, now strong and free, he realized that the scars from that long ago fall were still on his body. But now they were not sick. They were signs that he had passed through the earth to truly appreciate the sky. He became the guardian of the heights, and every time someone in the valley looked up, he felt a slight gust of warm wind on his face. It was Elios flying by, reminding him that the sky was waiting for everyone. Practical completion. In this allegory, flying is your ability to manifest in the world without fear of judgment and the pain of the past. 1. Rock inventory technique. Take a piece of paper and write down 3 stones that make your wings heavy. Someone else's criticism, old bad luck, fear. 2. Ritual of letting go. For each stone, imagine, how would you feel if it were gone tomorrow? What step would you take? 3. Visualization. Close your eyes and imagine your bones becoming light and porous. Inhale the sky and exhale the dust.